Guten Morgen. Well, it's Saturday. Figure y'all know that by now. Well, probably not actually. But let's see. I'm going through the morning, and I'm currently studying, the Book of Enoch. That's an interesting text right there. That's an interesting piece. Outside of that, I'm looking at the cat now, and she's doing her job good. A little tired. Fair's in town, so that was a late night. And oh, she missed it. I saw something dart out. Oh, she got the leaf. I came home last night. It was late already, but I was on the porch, and then she was there too, and usually she always wants to have some cuddles, but she didn't want that this time around. And then I found out while she was eating something, so she caught herself. She caught a bunny at some point. Man, this little predator. The thing is probably a third the size of her. I don't know how she managed that. Looks so innocent. She's doing a good job. Either way, I had a little epiphany this morning. I was not happy with how this little sled is cutting. And so I need to make some changes. And I think I know what to do. I'm gonna figure out a spot where... let's see. So this rail is straight. I know this rail is straight, okay? And I know from this distance to that block is a good distance. I can measure it. I can cut it, and that is good. That's good. And the way I measure it, I just take this the carpenter square thing. Yeah, that's the carpenter square. And then get it against the tooth of the saw, and then I make my marks, and then yeah, they're all on there, and they work. So what I would like to do, and what I should do, is do the same thing up here. That's the idea. Here's the idea. And then I can strike a piece of, wood down here, a good straight edge. I'll have to find something, even if it's like a piece of 3/4. I bet you that's straight. I got straight pieces around I can find. And then that'll be a new guide rail. Clamp it in on both sides, and then you can just... So I'm not worrying about a 90-degree fence. If this shifts a little bit or not, I have a whole edge to work against. I think that'd be a lot more solid. I think that'll actually work. That'll change the way this rail works, but if I do that, then I just have to find the point where there is a 90, roughly, I would say, to this guide. Ideally to here, because that I think can be found. So when I'll strike these pieces of wood, I'll see how they kind of work, if it is square or not. Basically between that fence and this one, if that's square, because then I can actually screw this one in, and then it'd be a little more solid as well. But we'll see how that goes. I think right now it actually sits pretty good. Like I said, I got 2 pieces for the hives cut yesterday, and yeah, I have ideas now on how to actually build a little bee sauna. I had an idea, and it actually seemed like a good idea. One of the few that come around. And she's gonna fall. Just trying to climb on the shelf, and she took everything with her. Either way, I'll go how do you say, fiddle around with that and see where that goes. Well, here's the addition. So I just got this is a straight edge. Measured it with the level. There we go. And yeah, I kind of got my marks lined up here, and then I just I got a reference point on that side, and it's accurate. You clamp it down, and I use against this fence to the saw. This here's parallel, and I measured this one. it is good. It is, I mean, okay, it's even. It's both even on each side, but my scale is like a 30-second out, which is, yeah, which it shouldn't be. So when I go to actually do the cutting, I'll have to do something about that. But in the meantime, the saw is sliding nicer. I notched it out here. It actually doesn't seem to be building up as much. It just either falls through or it comes off the back. So that actually fixed it, seemingly, for all the cuts I did so far. Like I said, I measured this one. It's straight. And well, we'll see how this works out. So now I'm just going to be referencing to this edge, which is actually a lot better than trying to square up to a small piece of fence. You have a whole length that you can square up to. It just makes holding it easier too. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna be using to cut all these hives. I think I mentioned previously that I bumped up all my measurements by a 1/16 of an inch to accommodate for insulation. Problem is the plywood that I get is they're offcuts. So that I don't get them in full sheets. I get scrap wood. That's what I use. And the problem with some of that is the shortest cuts, the ones that I get the most of, I think they're 23 7/8, which work nicely because one of the main measurements on the hives was 23 7/8. When you bumped it up a 1/16 for the insulation, that turned to a 24. 16th on each side, and now I can't use those pieces for that. So I'm wondering, right now I have everything that's been cut is still interchangeable between the old and the new. I'm wondering if I should just stick to the old. It wasn't too much of an issue. You just need to be precise with your measurements, and then it worked out. And insulation you can always cut back. I just remember having issues with stuff not sealing nicely, and actually no, I don't remember having much issues. I know where those issues came from. Now I realize it. Okay, well, some of the hives I didn't have the 2-inch insulation. When I used that actually seemed to work very nicely. But prior to that, I think I used scrap insulation. I had a bunch of scrap stuff lying around. That's what it was. And that's why the joints didn't line up nicely, because when you stacked it all together, it was just a little bit proud of 2-inch, and then it was a mess. I'll stick with the old measurements. They worked. The hives turned out good. And if you use them proper insulation, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, there you go. I make a problem when there is none. I just realized what the problem was. So. Okay, well, I guess I'll do that, and then makes things a lot easier for me, and I can utilize all the wood I have. And I take it that rabbit wasn't enough. I wonder if there's a hole in the ground there too. Oh, she's prowling around all day. Funny thing is, when trouble closes one door, another one opens. So, this works. This setup works to a degree. So I cut the pieces in here. I'm finding out I can measure from here to the inner edge of here just with the tape, and that gives me a nice line. And so I put my board in there. I cut it, measure it, front, back, bang on. Measure the middle, and I'm missing about 30 seconds to a 1/16, 3/64. It's just, there's the slightest of a cup in there. This I checked with the straight edge. It's good, seemingly. Can find no fault with it. Say, well, then your board is bad. Okay, that's the next culprit, and that is something I tried fixing now. So I took the board actually, and I put it in here. So the cut that is on that board now is the same as what's cut through the fence, and it's still it's better than it was, but it's still just that bit out, and it's just a, the ends are, I want 15, okay, that's 15, go to the other end, hey, that's 15, now I go to the middle, and you see I'm missing a bit. It's small, and if I play the angle, maybe it looks a little better, but if you can see, it's just not, it's small, and it could just be that I'm using a, who knows, maybe it's just not a good edge, actually. No, it's a factory edge on the other end. Who knows, maybe it's where I'm getting it from, but there seems to be a small dip. I'll have to run some more tests with it. This is probably an unreliable board, but as it stands, I mean, that is just gonna be, but I can measure it in there too, so when I drag the tape here, if I put it against there, you can see I get 15 down there, and then if I go to the middle, it's really close. Maybe it's just the board. Maybe it's just the board. I think it's time for coffee and then take another stroll through the corn and clean my mind. I was just strolling through the corn, and then that whole rooster there, I don't know, he wants to fly the he needed to find a perch, I guess. Well, I'm out in the sorghum, and I want to highlight one. So all the sorghum, kind of looks, it's got this structure to it. It's okay. There's seed on there. It's a little small, but I found this one stalk in here. Look at the head on this one. So there are technically two varieties of sorghum in here, and I guess this is this is the only one of its kind that I see in here right now. But I will definitely be taking this for seed. I mean, look at the size of these kernels. And the structure of this is just a good full head of sorghum. You can see the difference between the two if I have a little side by side here. How full that is compared to that. So this will be used for seed next year. Lord willing, that ripens, and I'm looking around. I just don't see anything else like it in here. Okay, so bit of a hiatus, and then so I changed a few things. I didn't actually. It works. So yeah, I just roughed in. I'm cutting stuff again. So I got my wood over there, and I'm using the old measurements. So got myself a table printed out. So I got all my cuts there, and then yeah, I'll. It's so far it's working good. I mean. It doesn't seem to bow in the middle anymore. These need to be 23 7/8, and it's pretty close. That's off. That's good. So maybe we'll cut it has to be cuts again, but if I have it set up right now, then I might as well cut everything. It needs to be 23 7/8. I don't know if things shifted or not, but interesting. I don't know why that last one was a little bit out, but we'll see how that goes. Well, I figured I'd give a little update. So I got these plywood sheets. These are for my the fronts of the beehive, so I can get two pieces out of these very nicely. So I'm ripping them down. So far so good. I probably should take a measure to it. I'm just have that much confidence in the measurements, or I just want to turn a blind eye to what I'm doing. Actually, the truth of the matter is, I think my measuring tape's in the wheelbarrow. It's either that or it's in the sea can there. But so far, seems to work nice. I'm just, so these are all the pieces I'm cutting. So as you can see, I'm just toss it on here. And just going one piece at a time. And then, so I'm doing all the widths. So this piece is set up at 23 7/8. So, I'm just going down my list and saying I'm just doing all of those cuts right now. So I have all the bottoms cut down to their width. I got all the sides cut down to their width. I did all the external pieces. Those are already been cut because that is squared. So I just got I think 3 sheets there left, and then I'll rip those down, and then I'll probably rip them to their to the length that they need to be. Same with the bottoms, and actually I'll probably do the interiors. I'm not interior. Oh, never mind. The interiors I'll do last. It's going to be out of 3/4 plywood, so that's going to be the most cumbersome, and they need the most machining too. So really, I'm just going to focus on all the 3/8 plywood right now. So just going to keep chipping away at this, and getting a little list made together. So I've got the interior sides, exterior sides, and the interior bottoms are all done. So slowly but surely. Alright, so this is a demonstration of one of the cuts at least. I already cut 19 this way. This is the last one. So far this jig has been pretty good. Just slide the piece of wood under, put it up flush against the fence in the back, and then that's the piece cut. So those were all the pieces I needed. These were at 23.5. And you did a good job. I took the clamp off now. I just put the screws in there now. So this is permanently affixed to the sled. And then all the adjustments come from this. And so instead of using this as the fence, now this is the fence. And that makes a lot more sense. So, then I'm gonna have to readjust this one for the long cuts, and then I'll be able to send these all through. Right? Yeah. Alright, so it's just near 7, and I think I'm gonna call it quits here. Just because I got everything for the Hive bodies cut. There's just so these are the last of the pieces. They're all cut to dimension. These are the very front of the boxes, and these are the interior front and backs. But I do still need to do a little bit more machining to them. What would you call that? Machining is from metal. What would you call them? Wood. They need a little bit more work. But I need to cut a receiving groove for the frames, for the Langstroth frames, and then another one for again the Langstroth frames. I designed these hives again to both use the Lazutin and the Langstroth frame, and then on 10 of them I'll need to. I wonder if that is 10. No, it's 8. On 10 of them I'll need to also put a slot, or just a slit down the front, and so I got a jig for that, just where the router will go in, and I'll have to do the same thing with this one. I have to put a slit across the front. It's the entrance where the bees can go in. Now, last time I did a 3/8 slot, and it works, but I think I'm gonna bump it up to 3/4 this time, because it is something that should be bigger. It makes it nicer for the bees. Like I said, when you observe them, when they come in, they want to go from the bottom when they come, and then when they leave, they want to go from the top. The 3/8 allows one bee to go in at a time. When they want to kind of go in and out at the same time, it gives them a little bit more room, a little less hectic traffic at the entrance, and you don't have to have such a wide gap to accommodate for that then. So I think I'll do that in this one. I would need to get different cord though, so that's one thing. But outside of that, yeah, it's just these pieces that need, that extra work. And then what I didn't do last time was actually cut the roof pieces ahead of time, and so I'll be doing that as well. I'll cut all the, I guess, the things I can cut right off that's not customized is the sides, the front and the back. There's an interior ceiling, and the very top. And then I might toy around with a few different roof designs, because that's kind of where you can make them really stand out. That's where you can make them look unique. I am probably going to move away from the 45 as much as how nice it looks. It does. It's got I like the pitch to that. It looks nice. I do enjoy that. But for practicality, the 35 is just, it's not so gypsy. So I'll try that, and who knows, maybe play around with a few more ideas. You can make unique roofs. So yeah, I think I'll leave it off from there. Probably the next weekend I'll then chip away at, I want to get all the plywood cut here, and then I can dismantle this, and then I can tool these up, and yeah, we'll see how this, it should be just a matter of unclamping it and then storing it away. And I don't think there's too much else to it. So far it's worked really good. Since I built this thing 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, two weeks ago. I'm messed up on my days. That was last week, man. So I changed from that. That fence is now obsolete. I don't use it anymore. I square everything up from here to here. I start making measurements on the side that are fairly accurate, but I just go in and I kind of rough it out until I find the sweet spot. Like I said, I changed this. The dust collection is so much nicer. I made a little mark on the saw itself so I know where to stop here. Really, I should have a stop here just so I can't run it too far. I did screw them down now, so it is actually affixed. So there's that. And then I added a little block under here, and this is just so that if you have pieces, especially the long 48s, so that whatever drops, like these long cutoffs, it kind of rests here when you're still cutting all the way over here, and then it kind of just drops down instead of like this, and then it has a tendency to kind of splinter instead. So so outside of that, yeah, the biggest improvement, of course, is that fence, and it works. It does the job. It's pretty quick for what it is. I was able to get everything for the hive bodies cut, in a day, which is a personal best. And I couldn't have done that had I been using the table saw, in my opinion. So we'll see where this goes, and then yeah, again, pick it up next week. But yeah, if you watched this far, thanks for watching, and take care.